We are on 0-4, adding and subtracting rational numbers, which can be found on P13 through P16. But the first example that I'm actually going to do is on P14. We will be coming back and doing example 1 and example 2 later in the week or semester. Go ahead and turn to P14. This is where I need you to be. P14. There is no vocabulary which I need to cover, but what I do need to cover with like fractions. If we have the same denominator, we add or subtract our numerators, okay? Our numerators are actually the top number, so we're going to go ahead and add and subtract our top number, and we always keep the denominator. We never add or subtract the denominator. So example 3 on P14. It's the same as in your book. It says find each sum or difference, write in simplest form. Okay? Simplest means lowest terms. If I have 3 over 5 plus 1 over 5, my denominators match, which means my denominator stays the same. Then I have 3 plus 1. Well, that is 4. I'm done. We're going to go ahead and skip letter B. It is the same thing, just subtraction. Now we'll go ahead with letter C on example 3. 4 over 9 minus 7 over 9. The denominators match, so I'm going to have the same denominator. But I have 4 take away 7. 4 take away 7. 7 is larger. 7 minus 4 is 3. If I add 4 and I take away 7, I am in debt, which means negative 3. Opposite sign subtract, keep the sign of the larger number, negative 3. So my final answer would be negative 3 over 9. Unlike fractions. This is before example 4. If we have different denominators, we use LCM. LCM stands for least common multiple. Least common multiple. To find the same denominators and create equivalent fractions. Equivalent means the same but looks different. So we're going to come up with fractions that are equivalent. It means that they're the same but look different. And how are we going to do this? By multiplying our top numbers, which is our numerators, by multiplying our top numbers. So we are on example 4, which is the same in your book on P14. Find each sum or difference, write in simplest form. 8 and 3 are different, which means we have to use our LCM, least common multiple. So if I were to count by 8 and count by 3, what is the first number they have in common? 8, 16, 24, so on and so forth. If I count by 3, I would have 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 18, 21, 24. The first number they have in common is 24. What I like to do is I like to rewrite my fractions with the same denominator. Something over 24 minus something over 24 equals something over 24. Your denominator, just like I taught up here, 555, 999, will always be the same. Now, how did I get from 8 to 24? I multiplied by 3. If I multiply the bottom by 3, I multiply the top by 3. 3 times 3 is 9. How did I get from 3 to 24? I multiplied by 8. If I multiply the bottom by 8, I multiply the top by 8. 1 times 8 is 8. 9 minus 8, 1. 1 over 24, there is nothing that I can do with that. Letter C, 5 and 4. 5, 10, 15, 20, 4, 8, 12, 16, 20. 20 is my smallest number that they have in common, my LCM. Something over 20 minus something over 20 equals something over 20. How did I get from 5 to 20 times 4? If I multiply the bottom by 4, I multiply the top by 4. That would give me 8. How did I get from 4 to 20? Multiply by 5. If I do the bottom, I do the top. 3 times 5 is 15. Okay, the bottom remains 20. Now we have 8 minus 15. Let's use what I've been teaching. 8 take away 15. I cannot take 8 minus 15. So I'm taking away, which means my larger value is more negative. So I know my answer is going to be in debt. I'm going to be in debt. But how much in debt? 15 minus 8 is 7. So I'm 7 in debt. Negative 7. So on top, we have negative 7 over 20. And that's where we would stop on that. Before we get into example 6 and 7, I have a couple more notes. When adding and subtracting decimals, we must always line up our decimals. Line up our decimals. When subtracting decimals, we put the larger value on top, even if it is negative. So I've actually taught you that already, but I want to go ahead and stress that, especially whenever we are dealing with decimals and negative numbers. So we are on example 6, and it says find each sum. So let's use the words I've been using. Debt 13.12 plus debt 8.6. They are both debt, which means I would have to add them both to figure out how much debt I am. Same signs, add and keep. Now when I add, I need to always line up my decimals. This would be 2, 7, that would be 11, 2. 21.72, but I'm in debt, which means negative 21.72. Example 7, just like in your book. What I want you to start doing is pausing the video so you can also read what the book is saying so the book makes sense as well. On example 7, it says find negative 32.25 minus negative 42.5. So I would be debt 32.25, take away debt 42.5. The only way I can take away debt is if I add 42.5, just like I taught you before. So I have negative 32.25 plus 42.25. 42.5. So if I'm in debt, $32.25, but I'm given $42.50, I am out of debt because the larger value is positive. How much debt am I out of? I need to subtract. Always put the larger number on top. Always line up your decimals. 0 minus 5, I cannot do, I must borrow. 10 minus 5 is 5. 4 minus 2 is 2. 2 minus 2 is 0. 4 minus 3 is 1. 10.25. And it's positive because I'm out of debt. $10.25. So now we're going to go ahead and practice on P16. On P16, my practice starts at 26. So you should match on 26. Go ahead and pause the video and try. Debt 1.6 plus debt 3.8. Same signs, add and keep. 1.6 plus 3.8, 14, 5.4, negative. Pause the video and try. Negative 38.9, so debt 38.9 plus 24.2. So I'm in debt more than I receive. So I'm still going to be in debt. I need to subtract to find out how much. 38.9 minus 24.2. 7, 4, 1. And I'm still in debt. 14.7. Pause the video for 33 and try. Take away debt. How can I take away debt? By adding 14. 14 does not have a decimal. I need to add a decimal always at the end. And I still line up my numbers. 79.3 plus, line up my decimals, 14 goes on the left side. 3, 13, 9, 93.3. Go ahead and try number 35. Pause the video and try. I do not have the same denominator. I need to come up with the same. My denominator in coming up, these have to match. So the least common multiple would be 6. Something over 6 minus something over 6 equals something over 6. How did I get from 6 to 6? Times 1. So I need to multiply the top times 1. Negative 1 times 1 is negative 1. How did I get from 3 to 6? Times 2. So 2 times 2 would be 4. Debt 1, take away 4. That means I'm more negative. 1 plus 4 is 5, and I'm negative. So that's negative 5. Same signs, add and keep. Pause the video on 37 and try. Different denominators. My least common multiple would be 20. Something over 20 plus something over 20 equals something over 20. How did I get from 5 to 20? Times 4. So I got to do the top times 4. Negative 2 times 4 is negative 8. 20 times what gives me 20? Times 1. 17 times 1 is 17. Opposite signs I need to subtract. 9. I'm in debt 8, but I add 17. I'm out of debt 9. Pause the video for number 40 and try. On number 40, negative 7 over 8 minus. Minus, this means take away the debt. The only way to take away the debt is to add. I need to come up with common denominators. 16 is my common denominator. Something over 16 plus something over 16 equals something over 16. How did I get from 8 to 16? Times 2. Negative 7 times 2, negative 14. How did I get from 16 to 16? Times 1. 3 times 1 is 3. If I am in debt 14, but somebody gives me 3, then I'm slightly out of debt. So I'm not at 14 anymore. I'm actually at 14 minus 3. I'm at 11. So I'm still at negative 11.